All right, so some really amazing stuff was just revealed about Cyberpunk 2077 and even Edgerunners. Check it out right here. Here's the headlines. The Cyberpunk Cyberpsychos, you got it wrong. Mike Podsmith explains the true meaning of going cyber psycho, and there's been quite the discussion about this, but now we have some really new insights about cyber psychos, and it also gives us an idea of what we could potentially expect from them in the future. Now, also we have Edgerunner's David versus Cyberpunk's V. Mike Podsmith reveals all new details. So, at the end of this, I am curious to see who you guys think is more powerful, David or V. We're going to be discussing that here in just a moment as well. Plus, we also have this one right here. It says Cyberpunk 2077, something shocking is about to happen. Could Cyberpunk become the most played single player game ever? So that's going to be the question. Could it be possible? Maybe with the power of mods. We'll have to wait and see. But we have this one as well. Cyberpunk's unreleased multiplayer spotted. Is the game's multiplayer really dead? So this is really interesting. We're going to dive into that one. But first, check this out right here. This is really, really cool. This one comes from Le Toxic Avenger, and he posts this. Just finished Edgerunners and needed to update my PC case. Winking smiley face. And take a look at what he posted. This is mind-blowing. This is his custom PC case with a projection of, I believe, the Edgerunners introduction. And this is wild. I am so jealous right now. I want this so badly. You have no idea. But I wanted to highlight that one. But go out there in the Reddit thread. Tell them how impressed you are with that one, because that is mind-blowing right there. But yeah, right now, Cyberpunk is about to absolutely do something that I never imagined would be possible after this long. Check it out. Road to 100,000 concurrent users within the 24-hour period. We have a 24-hour peak of 92,399. And yeah, maybe, just maybe, we will break that 100K, which would be absolutely crazy. This game continues to trend upward. It's not stopping right now whatsoever. But also, are other gaming companies going to be like, we need to make an anime now? This is hilarious. It says EA and DICE, after seeing Cyberpunk 2077 get saved by an anime show. If we go here, check out the artwork right here. Battlefield 2042 anime. Now, of course, this is fake and stuff like that. I just found it absolutely hilarious. You'll probably see tons and tons of anime attempts from all these different publishers here. I swear to God, it's going to happen. This is also really funny. I have to highlight this one. It says, this one is from Twitter, made this masterpiece. Look, it's basically Among Us, but in the style of Cyberpunk Edgerunners. I found that funny. Had to highlight it. Some awesome stuff going on in the community, for sure. All right, so let's get back to it here. We also have this. This is mind-blowing. So Cyberpunk reaches the top 9 most played games on Steam. The only single-player game in the top 10 and top 20. It's heartwarming, to see a game I love above all else getting the attention it deserves. And you can see here it is sitting. It's sitting with the likes of Grand Theft Auto 5, Team Fortress 2, Cyberpunk 2077. You got to remember, it has no multiplayer component whatsoever, and it is sitting with one of the some of the heavy hitters that have lasted for decades, practically. All right, so let's get into the discussion about David versus V and Cyberpsychos. We're going to be hearing from Mike Podsmith, the genius that basically created Cyberpunk and the universe, the ground for it, I guess you would say. But yeah, let's get into this post. This is the beginning of the post right here, but wait for it. We're going to be getting into some amazing details that you may not have known about cyberpsychosis and cyberpsychos. Check it out here. This one comes from GyroPyro32, who says, why doesn't V get cyberpsychosis? It says, I feel like people who ask this misunderstand the point of cyberpsychosis in 2077. Cyberpsychosis is meant to be a scapegoat for the effed up society in Night City. Reread the Shards and Regina's text on cyberpsychosis. Many of these people are people who go through effed up crap, and some of them aren't even insane, like the cyberpsycho who killed the gang members who took his daughter. Many cyberpsychos are chromed out, but a lot of them are also normal, everyday Night City folk that had to go through messed up experiences. Take the other cyberpsycho who had her fiance stolen for a reality TV show. Veterans get cyberpsychosis not because they had crazy implants, but because they still got trauma from the war. Cyberpsychosis can be eliminated with memory erasure. If it was actually the cybernetics, then memory erasure shouldn't be effective. Cyberpsychosis, at least in 2077, was never meant to be the more cybernetics you get, the crazier you are. It's meant to be a scapegoat so feds and corpos don't have to help the people. Wow. Now it says V might be going through some effed up crap with the relic, losing their friends, but they're also having a blast. No, meeting new friends, bonding with Johnny, and all towards working towards the goal of getting it cured. If you think V should have cyberpsychosis because what they went through, then I won't really disagree with you, but cybernetics aren't the issue. Now, we're going to wrap this up here. It says, the truth about cyberpsychosis, some of us begin to isolate themselves and lose their empathy for others and undergo dramatic mood swings that exhibit sadistic tendencies. The most frightening component of all of this, however, is that most will never be diagnosed. Not all cyberpsychoses are known war veterans or former mercenaries equipped with and invest in reflex tech. Not all will go out in a blaze of gunfire with max tech. Many cyberpsychoses in our world possess only a single implant, a knee, a liver. They're unseen, unnoticed. They lock themselves up and shut out their friends, colleagues, and loved ones. The world outside of the net and their delusions has disappeared from conscious thought. They are sick and alone, and no one is doing a thing about it. Now, all right, that's a great summary of things going on, but let's get the expert, Mike Pondsmith, on this, and he goes on to explain a lot. He also dives into the differences between V and, of course, yes, David from Edgerunner. So yeah, let's get into this, and he is known as Maximum Mike as well. Now it says, okay, so time to partially explain cyberpsychosis. First of all, cyberpsychosis is a disorder that in part depends on the subject's overall internal suspectability. Just like every person who drinks a lot at parties doesn't end up an alcoholic in the gutter, not everyone who gets loaded up on cyberware is going to automatically go cyberpsychosis. You have to have an inherent susceptibility, which in the table RPG is represented by the player's humanity stat. Humanity is not just a measure of one aspect of personality, but an overall measure of several elements, including the subject's ability to emphasize and relate with others, their ability to absorb and rebound from mental and physical stressors, and their ability to show compassion and flexibility to others, and whether they are able to balance their worldview through other methods. So you're clearly seeing how it's not just all about the hardware, the chrome. There's a lot more to this, which is absolutely fascinating. We're going to see how this plays out for David and V here in just a moment. Now, it says this, though in some ways, I tend to treat cyberware as an addiction, heavy anabolic steroid use being my favorite model. Not everyone who juices ends up crazy mad with roid rage, but those who are more susceptible to the need to take more steroids are more likely to hit a point where they do flip into roid rage. Take a look at this article from Live Science. So yeah, you can go ahead and read that if you guys want to. Sources in the description, of course. Now it says David's starting humanity was probably already pretty high. Now we're talking about David's, Edgerunner's David, I should say. It says before things went to crap, he had a loving mother, a career path, and no more hassle than the average poor guy in a wealthy Ivy League school. So he had lots of buffer, but even so, he still, even after losing all of that, was able to make friends, build a replacement family, and after some prompting, even got himself a girlfriend and a mentor, Maine, to create a supportive father figure so he could definitely handle the stress of added cyberware to a point. That is so fascinating. So it shows that his support system was there. His mental health was pretty much at a peak, I guess you would say, and he was able to support all of the chrome through his mental health, as well as, being physically fit. It goes on to say this, most people in Night City don't have the level of humanity to pull this kind of stunt off without going cyber psychotic. So David is 1 in a million, and that's why Arasaka wants him. And what about V? V is a different case. We don't know V's background, but even if V was a full-on corpo, they were able to hold it together even when they ended up with a dead rocker boy in their hands. Yeah, tell me about it. Johnny Silverhand's been in my head for the last 3 decades. In fact, having Johnny in their head probably helped V, because Silverhand's rage and attitude probably acted as a buffer for their psychological hits V is taking. It's like having a timeshare with a guy who's already half cyber psycho and doesn't mind if V slaps stuff on their shared body. He's already crazy and violent. So that's a rough explanation of the roots of cyberpsychosis. If I ever get bandwidth, I'm going to start writing, posting some stuff about what I had in mind as I put together the Night City universe. But for now, you'll have to go with what I've got here. Have fun and remember not to chip millispec cyberware like your mother warned you about. And no, cyberpsychosis isn't caused by AI net demons. Give me a break, Joom. So that's such great insight. And it's so interesting to me how Johnny Silverhand has influenced V, even with his, a prevention of, I guess you would say, going full-blown cyber psychotic. So I thought that was absolutely fascinating take from Mike Pondsmith, but it begs the question in your mind, everyone, who is more powerful? Do you think if V and David basically faced off, who would win? Do you think it would be V, or do you think it would be David? Please sound off in the comments down below. All right, so we have got to talk about this one. This was recently discovered in Cyberpunk in a way. It says Cyberpunk 2077 credits still mention the unreleased multiplayer mode. I kid you not. And here is the source of the information right here. It says, what multiplayer? And this comes from Rubers 8 or something. It shows that there's actually credits here. Interesting. For lead multiplayer technology programmer, senior technology programmer. We've got a lot with a back-end developer and more, and an engine programmer as well. So they were beginning or testing out development with Red Engine 2 for multiplayer. So a lot of you guys are wondering, well, is that still going to happen? Like with the success of Edgerunners, seeing that we're almost nearing like 100K concurrent players on Steam alone. Don't you think, Robbie, that they should give multiplayer a second chance, that we should see something like heist co-op or something in this absolutely beautiful world? My personal opinion is it's just not going to happen because of them wanting to get on Unreal Engine 5. From their most recent official statements, they are going all in on Unreal Engine 5, and guess who's providing them with further multiplayer technology? It's going to be Epic Games, and they're not going to be interested in building on Red Engine. They're going to only look to build on what they have actually invested in, which is Unreal Engine 5. So if we do see multiplayer, there's going to be many different ways that can happen. It could happen through, of course, the Molasses Flood, who's developing some sort of game in either the Cyberpunk universe or the Witcher universe. We could be seeing, CD Projekt in the future try their best to acquire another studio intimately familiar with cooperative multiplayer so they can get us something like an Edgerunners co-op game. That would be so badass. I've seen some of you mention that before several times in the comments. Man, I am for that 100%. Overall, though, I would love for them to really focus up on Phantom Liberty and even focus on a second single-player expansion. I'm for single-player, guys. I want them to continue developing what has currently been built with Night City. It's absolutely one of the best open-world environments I've seen. And yeah, I want them to further develop it for sure. All right, another discussion is, yeah, we want to see Trauma DLC, the Trauma team in some sort of significant fashion. I love the look of their, vehicles right here as well. And it was so cool seeing them in Edgerunners. Yeah, it'd be cool to see a life path dedicated to this, but by far, one of the biggest discussions going on around Trauma Team out in the community for sure. All right, so now it's time to get into your top comments from my previous video, so let's do this. Remember, leave a comment down below. It could end up right here. My most recent video was about the Max Tech. So they are going to be updating the Max Tech here in the future, as well as overhauling the police system. Let's see what you guys had to say about this one. So first of all, we have You Create Your Own Story says this. I played this game day one and beat it after some time. Although the massive amount of bugs and glitches, it was still fun. I'm back now playing it again, and it has been so much fun. The Cyberpunk I expected back on launch. Truthfully, I've had more fun on this than GTA. That is crazy you just mentioned that, because as I've been doing this video, you know, I've been thinking about, man, I feel like this game is better than GTA now. Like, it will be when they finally get the police overhaul system in place, in my personal opinion. That's just my, you know, everyone subject to a different opinion. But once they get the actual police system, you know, implemented here and overhaul max tech, I really, really do believe this is finally going to be able to compete head to head with GTA 5, because, man, the city's absolutely amazing. Online is a whole other discussion. I'm just talking about single player here. Now we have Okami Kira, who says, what you came for. Oh, yes. Timestamps. Thank you for doing that, by the way. I do appreciate that. I've been so busy over here. I should be getting timestamps in the videos for you guys. J Media says the Edgerunners ending is perfect. It's right in line with the spirit of Pond Smith's stories. Everything in Night City has a price. I love how dramatic that is. It's true. I thought that ending was like perfection. I'm like, yeah, this is how it would go. You know, I'm not going to say anything about the ending. Don't worry. No spoilers. Connor Wood says this: for me, more random events that would repopulate throughout the world, more gigs, decent stories, way more guns, especially iconic ones, bug fixes, besides whatever else CD Projekt Red has in mind. I want what you mentioned there about more gigs with story, multi-part story, by the way, that's taking you across the map. You know what I mean? In different ways. Oshima did it really, really well, and I think it's possible here. And I like, personally, in open world games, when it's done right, by the way, when you're driving with someone and they're like developing the story and the build up to something. You kind of got that a lot in Ghost of Tsushima. You're on the horse, but you're going through absolutely beautiful scenes, which helped it immensely. And the voice acting was on point and stuff like that. I want more story-driven side quests in this game. But there it is. I can do one more. As Unstable User says this: if they add max tech, then they might as well just add Trauma Team 2. They can have it so if you kill certain people, Trauma Team swoops in and tries to save them and maybe fight you too. That would be very, very cool. Also, maybe some sort of life path where your objective is to extract people, you know? That would be very, very cool. There could be a lot of plot twists with that as well, and the potential is huge there. There it is, the latest happenings around Cyberpunk 2077. We even talked a little bit about Edgerunner, some very cool insight from Mike Podsmith about Cyberpsychos. Yeah, I wish there was more gameplay mechanics behind this. They could do some very, very creative stuff with it. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more, and I will see you all next time. Take care.